In the top stories, Federation records its 12th COVID-related death. Antigua and Barbuda extends state of emergency to December 27, and UK Army on standby to assist driver shortage. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today's Tuesday, the 28th of September 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, on the heels of the 11th COVID-related death announced on Sunday, the Federation has recorded another death, bringing the national total to 12. News of the 12th death came via the COVID-19 Situation Report number 543, disseminated by the Ministry of Health, dated Monday, the 27th of September at 11:59 p.m. This is the 8th death recorded for the month of September. Other information listed on the situation report states that 19 new cases were identified within the preceding 24 hours, bringing the number of active cases to 899 out of 1,891 total cases. There have been 980 recoveries. Authorities continue to urge everyone to follow all COVID-19 protocols to safeguard themselves against the virus. The Antigua and Barbuda Meteorological Services continues to follow the progress of Major Hurricane Sam. However, the tropical cyclone alert for the immediate area has been discontinued. The hurricane is expected to pass a comfortable distance north of the northeast Caribbean. According to a release from the Met Office on Tuesday morning, even at the reasonable worst-case scenario, there is no potential for storm force winds reaching the islands from Sam. The statement said the cyclone now poses little to no threat to Antigua and Barbuda, the rest of the Leeward Islands, or the British Virgin Islands. Also, the system poses no threat to the rest of the Caribbean. As football clubs in the Federation continue to be featured, here's a look at the Flow 4G K-On Rockets FC. Andre Huey, media consultant to the SKNFA, filed this report.
K-On FC is one of the clubs in St. Kitts and Nevis that have enjoyed recent successes in the SKNFA Premier League. But departures of some of their main senior players and the graduation of younger players into the main squad has delivered mixed performances. For one, they started off the season on a good note, racking up key wins in their first few matches.
Into Duncan fakes the shoot, comes on the inside, now he shoots, and in the back of the net, through the hands of Addison Warner. Disappointed in himself. 1 to K-On on 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
But with brilliant performances in one instance, K-On can also fail to fire at other times. Most notably, their failures to score against SL Horses St. Paul's FC in 2 Premier League meetings and an FA Cup appearance, conceding 6 goals to lose all 3 matches.
Fake. Nelson! In the back of the net, Nelson! Scoring against his former team. Number 2, up in the V. White couldn't do anything about that.
They had some moments this season. At one point they were in second. They were the closest just out of St. Paul's. But eventually they went on the bad run where they played St. Paul's 3 times in a row, twice in the league. To finish just as the league was suspended, they had a 0-0 draw with HE Garnett Spurs, and they experienced some player personnel changes where we saw the likes of Champagne, but they also welcome the likes of Carlos Berti, who should be able to address some of the goal scoring woes that was left by Vincent Nelson.
But assistant coach Jazz Buchanan, despite these failures, continued to sing the praises of the young, valiant players in the K-On setup.
Started to fix a lot of things, Many things we started to fix before this game, and so we was kind of dry in terms of finishing. Tonight now we went back in more in a shell that we had chance, we didn't come to them though. And I think when you're gonna play again like some bars and so you gotta try to score your chance to get them because when they get this, they're gonna score this. So it's gonna be a lot of show. It's gonna be just again, and we're gonna fix a lot of things we have tonight.
Still, K-On FC knows that when the season resumes, they have work to do.
Being able to compete while still being very young is something that's very commendable to me for about this K-On team.
Currently ranked 4th in the Premier League, K-On FC has a platform to propel themselves up the table ahead of the Super 6 playoffs.
Regionally, in Antigua and Barbuda, Parliament's upper house has approved the resolution to extend the state of emergency to December 27 of this year. The Senate endorsed the measure 10 votes to 4, with the no votes coming from the opposition senators. Jamie J. Rocher reports.
Senator the Honourable Mary Claire Hurst moved the state of emergency extension resolution Monday morning. The leading government senator says the extension is needed given the worsening pandemic.
The COVID-19 cases, you see the hospitalization, Madam President, you see those who are isolated, you see the active cases, you see the recovered, the confirmed, and Madam President, it is frightening.
Hurst says the government's mandatory vaccine policy creates safe working environments and encourages everyone to take the vaccine. Leader of Opposition Business in the Senate, Richard Lewis, maintains the government does not need a state of emergency to enforce the COVID-19 regulations. Meanwhile, he says the UPP supports vaccinations but opposes the mandatory policy, which he says causes people to take the jab under duress. Lewis adds the vaccine alone won't end the pandemic. He says the government should provide immune-boosting supplements for older adults and other vulnerable groups.
Do you know that vitamins A, C, D3, along with zinc, would help to boost the immune system and fight this COVID, whether you're vaccinated or not? So I'm saying there's some vulnerable individuals out there, vaccinated or not, they're exposed because look, everybody can transmit.
But Government Senator Philip Sherrill says the opposition's vaccination stance creates uncertainty in people's minds.
You come here this morning on a rant talking about people's wicked actions of the government and that they have dropped the hammer. That is why we're having 800 something people today being vaccinated. It's not that. People are seeing the light. You all look at the dashboards? Have you looked at the dashboards? Do you look at the dashboards? Do you see the number of deaths in Antigua and Barbuda? Well, I want to tell you all, right? All or most of that is created by doubt that you all put in the minds of the people in Antigua and Barbuda in your radio stations every day.
Senator Sherrill adds governments all over the world are implementing mandates to protect lives and livelihoods. Jamie J. Rocher, ABS News.
In Grenada, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has assured healthcare providers that they will be duly recognized and rewarded for their role in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. He also indicated his administration's devotion to address several challenges within the healthcare system. Here's more.
According to a press release issued by the Government Information Service, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell assured healthcare providers that they will be duly recognized and rewarded for their role in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. This happened during a series of meetings with doctors and nurses at the country's hospitals last week. He said, and I quote, "I appreciate the work that is being done, the enormous sacrifices that many are making. Thanks are certainly not enough, and I assure you that government will examine what we can do to ensure that you and all other deserving public officers are appropriately recognized for your diligence and dedication in this dark hour. The healthcare system may have several challenges, but we are committed to resolving as many of the issues as we can. All the problems will not be solved tomorrow, but every attempt will be made to ensure the necessary improvements," unquote. The PM indicated that with the confirmation of community spread and the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases, healthcare workers are already stretched due to limited resources and have been put under immense pressure as they provide care to the increased number of persons requiring medical intervention. The Minister for National Security empathized with doctors, nurses, and other frontline healthcare workers across the country who have been at the forefront, face to face with the tragic loss of many lives in Grenada's fight against COVID-19. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
Internationally, the UK government is putting army drivers on standby to help deliver fuel as pumps run dry at fueling stations up and down the country. More in this report.
The UK is putting army drivers on standby to help out as a fuel supply crisis drags on. Up to 90% of filling stations have run dry in regions up and down the country. That after a shortage of truck drivers hit supplies, sparking panic buying. Long lines have formed at the few outlets which still have petrol, with fights between car drivers breaking out in some places. Now the British Medical Association is calling for health workers to get priority access to fuel to ensure that hospitals aren't left without doctors and nurses. The crisis is also becoming a big concern for anyone who depends on vehicles to work. Paul Kirby is a London taxi driver.
It's massive. Friends of mine have not been able to come to work this morning because they're so low, they can't risk coming out and running out. It's really, really worrying.
Ministers, oil companies and petrol stations all say there is no shortage of fuel. It's the combination of a lack of truckers and panic buying that has drained the system. Now, army drivers could help fill some of the gap, but not very much. Hauliers estimate the country is short of around 100,000 truckers. Many left as a result of Brexit, while lockdowns hampered training for new drivers. However, with so many cars now filled up, the Petrol Retailers Association predicts that the supply crunch should ease in the coming days.
Bangkok's famous nightlife has made it one of the top tourist destinations in Asia for years. But even as Thailand's government works to bring international tourists back after the pandemic, curfews are still in place and bars are closed. The move is drawing criticism from the food and beverage industry, but also highlights the nation's strict alcohol control laws. Al Jazeera's Scott Heidler reports from Bangkok, Thailand.
This network of alleys in Patpong, usually the vibrant center of Bangkok's unique style of nightlife, now sits idle and dark. The shutters were pulled down on bars and entertainment venues in the weeks after the first cases of COVID-19 in Thailand, and have stayed down for most of the 18 months that followed, thanks to shutdowns and curfews. This part of Chinatown is home to a community of trendy, small specialty bars. Not only do bar owners view the government's handling of their industry during the pandemic as a near-death blow, but alcohol control laws predating the shutdowns have also been working against them.
I am embarrassed about this situation. Thailand is renowned for its great nightlife. Many bars here receive awards. Why doesn't the government support the industry? I think these strange laws are supported by big business to maintain their monopoly. Our voice is not loud like theirs.
Bar owners call the laws draconian, in which alcohol sales are limited to set hours during the day, heavy taxes on imports, and unequal laws only allowing large companies to brew beer and distill alcohol. A ban on alcohol advertising and internet sales are so strictly enforced, bars were fined for posting videos of cocktail making and menus for drinks delivery. Yet large breweries avoid the ban by advertising mineral water and soda that bear the same logos as their alcohol products.
Here's an example of Thailand's alcohol control laws. If I were to take a selfie here in this bar and share it on social media, I could be fined up to $1,500 for indirectly advertising the brands of alcohol behind me. If I own the bar, I could be fined up to $15,000 and possibly face a year in jail.
Alcohol control laws have been a contentious subject in Thailand. Historically, politically connected conservative and religious groups have worked to keep them strict. An opposition member of parliament, a former bar owner himself, is working to change the laws and save smaller bars in trouble.
When we reopen again and the tourists come again, they would find out Thailand is completely different country, it's not fun anymore, you know.
Yet some who support the alcohol laws say it's also about safety for visitors.
I think tourist safety should be a priority. I think alcohol control is necessary. If we let the alcohol sellers run free and do whatever they want, things will get messy.
Once Thailand emerges from its lockdown, curfews are lifted and the nightlife is allowed to reopen. It's unclear if it will return as it once was or a watered-down version. Scott Heidler, Al Jazeera, Bangkok.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are clear skies with a light breeze of 7 miles per hour from the east. The temperature is 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Seas are moderate with waves of 2 to 5 feet. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis says some shallow and diminishing pockets of moisture will maintain for most of the day with a moderate chance of showers across the region. Later tonight, a more stable atmosphere prevailing will further reduce the chances of showers across the islands. In summary, today will be partly sunny with a 40% or moderate chance of showers. Tonight will be mostly fair with a 20% or slight chance of showers. And just a quick reminder, ZIZ will be bringing live coverage of the Prime Minister's press conference today at 3 o'clock. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.